This is Great Stories in Bioethics, my personal YouTube channel. And today I'm talking about what is bioethics. The most primordial aspect of bioethics is when a doctor-patient or dentist-patient encounter, and a lot of issues arise there, withdrawing care, informed consent. So that's one of the areas where bioethics talk about and also sometimes help as a clinical ethicist in the hospital. Another big area of bioethics has to do with research. There are doctors who both take care of patients but also do research. And in that area, bioethicists often serve on institutional review boards, or IRBs, which started about 1972 after the revelation of the Tuskegee syphilis studies. Another place where bioethics talk about a lot. We've talked before about how medicine can go from therapy to enhancement. And there are times when bioethicists say, hey, enough is enough. We shouldn't be getting into making babies with blonde hair and blue eyes. We should hold off on enhancement. And perhaps Leon Kass, who's one of the most famous critics of going beyond therapy to enhancement. I think this is kind of Venn diagrams, which kind of come together. And there are even larger circles within these Venn diagrams. Another role for a bioethicist is to kind of understand and teach the pedigree of a bioethical issue. Because every issue in bioethics does have a pedigree. There are controversies about embryos and in vitro fertilization in Alabama in 2026. But this goes back to the birth of the first baby Louise Brown in 1978. So there's a role for historians of medicine and bioethicists is kind of to sketch out the pedigree of an issue. Another issue, which is very big with bioethics, is public policy. So we're going beyond just the doctor-patient interaction now to say, well, what kind of medical system should we have? Should we have a single-payer system of medical finance, like Canada and European countries, or is our present system okay? And who should benefit from the way that certain specialists get paid a lot and primary care doctors don't? These are big public policy issues. Bioethicists like Zeke Emanuel and Arthur Kaplan often talk about that and are probably the most well-known. Another issue for bioethicists is kind of as a critic of what's going on. Peter Singer is a famous bioethicist this way, especially in his view that we exploit animals in research and for factory farming, and that we don't pay enough attention to saving the life of poor people, say, who have like viscovaginal fistulas or are starving. We spend too much on ourselves. That's just another role of a bioethicist. Another role of a bioethicist is an international bioethics. So not everything that's an issue in America is an issue in the rest of the world. As a very famous physician, Paul Farmer, talked about how American bioethics often ignores what he calls bioethics from down below, what affects poor people. Bioethics looks different in different countries. In Japan, it'll look different than in Denmark or in Poland. And there's a special journal of international bioethics. Another issue for bioethics is as a kind of critic of what's going on, as a kind of moral conscience. There are things that really maybe are corrupt going on. For example, urologists shouldn't get kickbacks for referring patients to a lithotripsy machine. Kickbacks in general are wrong. Maybe the pharmaceutical industry has too much power in America. A bioethicist like Carl Elliott, who's an MD, PhD, is a good example of such a bioethicist. Finally, there are some people in bioethics who really have a very big picture of what's going on. And for example, Derek Parfit talks about how many future people there should be and what quality of life they should have. That is a very, very big issue. And these are all roles of bioethicists that have actually grown in my lifetime, over 50 years. And you can just see it as expanding circles of interest and concern. And I think it explains why bioethics is the most exciting field in the world today. That's it for today. I hope you learned something from my short summary. If you did, give me a thumbs up, share. I'll see you again next Tuesday.